Hey friend, welcome back to the show. Today we're having a conversation that sits heavy on a lot of hearts, especially for women who've poured themselves into their families, their work, their leadership, and now find themselves facing unexpected relational heartache. Today's episode is about those moments or seasons when you feel shut out, when someone you love seems to be pulling away, creating distance, setting boundaries that leave you feeling hurt, confused, or even a little rejected. It might be a son or a daughter or son-in-law. It might be a close friend or a colleague. It might be a sibling or even a spouse whose connection has grown cold. And maybe like so many women I work with, you find yourself asking, how did we get here? What did I do wrong? How do I fix this? Or can I? Today, I want to share some encouragement and maybe a little guidance for how we navigate these seasons with grace instead of guilt, and how even in our personal relationships, we are still being called to lead well, to lead ourselves with maturity, humility, and love. Are you a busy woman in leadership who feels pulled in 1,000 directions? Do you wrestle with perfectionism, people-pleasing, or never feeling like you're enough no matter how successful you are on paper? Are you longing for more time, more peace, and more energy to live and lead the way God intended? Sister, you are right where you need to be. Hi, I'm Tanya, a wife, mom, healthcare leader, Christian life coach, and functional health practitioner. I spent decades hustling for my worth through achievement and approval, only to end up burned out and exhausted. But God showed me a better way, a grace-fueled way. And now, I help women just like you break free from people-pleasing and overwhelm, lead well, live well, and be well. Here, we blend spirit-driven success with practical leadership, wellness, and mindset strategies so that you can multiply your time and impact without sacrificing your health or your family. If you're ready to lead well, live healthier, and finally find the peace and purpose God has waiting for you, you are in the right place. So roll up your sleeves, sister friends. It's time to reclaim your time, restore your joy, and lead from grace. Let's start with a common sort of generalized example of a story, one that I've seen or heard in many forms over the years. We have a woman, let's call her Linda, and she loves her adult daughter and son-in-law, and she adores her grandchildren, but over time she's noticed that the invitations aren't coming as often. Her texts go unanswered a little longer. There's less warmth, less connection. And eventually her daughter shares with her that they've felt pressured, that visits feel like obligations, not choices, that boundaries haven't always been respected, that Linda's comments, though well-meaning, sometimes leave them feeling judged or guilty, that what was meant as love sometimes lands as criticism. Linda is crushed. In her heart, she only wanted to be involved, to stay connected, to share in the lives of the people that she loves the most. She never meant to cause harm. She thought she was showing love, but what's been received is something else. And now there's distance, there's grief, and there's this painful question hanging in the air. Can this be healed? These situations hurt because they hit right at the heart of our identity as mothers, as grandmothers, as friends, as women who have built our lives around connection and care. We are relational by nature. God wired us for connection. So when a connection we deeply value is suddenly strained or even seemingly severed, it feels like rejection. It feels like failure. It feels like a door we desperately want to walk through is now bolted shut. And as leaders, as caregivers, as women who have spent decades fostering relationships in our homes, in our work, in our communities, this hits hard because it touches our sense of purpose and belonging.
But here's the reality. No relationship is static. People grow, people change, their lives change. Family systems evolve, and sometimes boundaries are necessary for healing, even if they weren't asked for in the way that we hoped. So, what do we do when we feel left out, when we feel hurt, when our longing for closeness isn't met with open arms? Well, here's what I believe God calls us to. Not control, not manipulation, not victimhood, not guilt trips or silent treatments, but grace, humility, curiosity, and love. Let's walk through some principles that help us respond well. Maybe not perfectly, but faithfully. First, we listen without defending. When someone shares how our actions, even unintentional ones, have caused them hurt, our first instinct is often to explain, to defend, to clarify. That's not what I meant. You misunderstood. But relationships aren't built on our intentions. They're built on experiences. Listening doesn't mean agreeing with everything that's said. It means honoring the other person's experience. The sentiment of, thank you for trusting me enough to share this. I want to understand even if it's hard to hear. This is maturity. This is leadership, leading ourselves away from defensiveness and into humility. Second, own what you can. Maybe you didn't realize how often you brought up hurt feelings over missed holidays or missed get-togethers. Maybe you didn't see how your well-meaning advice might have landed as criticism. Maybe you didn't intend for expectations to feel so heavy. Own what's yours, not to shame yourself, not to grovel, but to honor the relationship. Ownership builds trust, and humility opens doors. Number 3, affirm the other person's boundaries. You don't have to understand someone's boundary to respect it. You don't have to agree with their choices to honor them. When we say, I see that this is important to you and I will respect it, we're modeling the kind of leadership that Jesus showed, one of grace, not control. Boundaries are not punishments. They're invitations to healthier patterns, even if the road there feels lonely for a while. Number 4, lead with consistency, not guilt. Continue to invite, continue to show love, but release the outcome. Don't manipulate with guilt. Don't punish with silence. Just keep offering steady, gracious presence. Over time, this consistency, rooted in love, not obligation, becomes the bridge that invites others to step back in.
Hey friend, quick pause. Can I speak to the woman who's running on fumes right now? If you've been feeling like a stranger in your own body, if the brain fog, the belly fat, or burnout have you left wondering, is this just what midlife feels like? You are not alone. But hear me. Midlife isn't a crisis. It is your comeback. Through my personalized functional health coaching, I help high-capacity women leaders balance their hormones, restore their energy, and feel like themselves again, naturally. Are you ready to trade burnout for breakthrough? If so, join my waitlist at gracefilledleader.com/health. That's gracefilledleader.com/HEALTH.
Now, you might be wondering, what does this have to do with leadership? Well, I would venture to say everything. Because leadership starts at home. It starts with how we lead ourselves through disappointment, through rejection, through relational strain. It's easy to lead when people are clapping for you. It's a lot harder when people are stepping away. And yet, how we lead ourselves in seasons of heartache speaks volumes about our character, about our faith, and about our commitment to becoming more like Christ. Christ modeled love without manipulation. He modeled grace without control. He modeled presence without pressure. That's the leadership we're called to in these hard places. If you're listening today and this hits close to home, please hear me. Your heartache matters. Your desire for connection is good and God-given, but you're not responsible for how others respond. You're only responsible for how you show up. You may never get the response or the apology that you long for. You may never receive the recognition of how much you've done, how much you've tried, how much you've tried to change. That is a hard reality, but it does not mean that your efforts are wasted. Growth isn't about getting credit. It's about becoming more of who God has called you to be. And in these spaces of tension, where your heart aches to be included, to be understood, to be welcomed, I want to remind you of this. God sees you. God knows. God honors the quiet work you're doing to respond with grace, to release control, to keep loving even when love feels complicated. Psalm chapter 34, verse 18 says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." That's a promise you can hold on to when your family feels distant, when family occasions are hard, when relationships feel fragile. Sometimes healing takes time. Sometimes people need space to grow in their own way. Reconciliation and reparation and relationship building isn't rushed. It's built over time through small moments of grace, humility, and trustworthiness. You don't rebuild strained relationships with grand gestures or emotional pleas. You rebuild them with quiet faithfulness, with respect for boundaries, with consistent kindness, with love that doesn't demand but invites. And while we wait for hearts to be softened and bridges to be rebuilt, we lead ourselves well by anchoring our worth not in others' approval, but in God's unfailing love. Friend, I know it can feel hopeless at times. The silence, the distance, the things left unsaid. But friend, relationships can heal. Hearts can soften. Time, prayer, and consistent love have a way of opening doors we thought were closed for good. Keep showing up with love. Keep surrendering the outcome to God. Keep trusting that He's at work in ways you can't yet see. As we wrap up today, I want to leave you with these reminders. You can lead yourself through relational strain with grace. You can respect boundaries without feeling rejected. You can trust God to work in hearts that you can't change, and you can choose love over control, grace over guilt, and presence over pressure. Leadership isn't just for the workplace or the boardroom. It shows up in how we manage our hearts, our words, our actions, and our expectations in these deeply personal spaces. Jesus showed us this, leading with humility, responding with love, and trusting His Father's timing in all things. That's the model we follow. If this episode touched something deep in you today, know this: you are not alone. So many women find themselves navigating these waters. Your longing for connection is valid. Your efforts matter, and God is faithful. He is the ultimate reconciler. He is the healer of hearts, the restorer of relationships, and the comforter of those who grieve what feels lost. Your story isn't over. Your relationships are still unfolding. Keep praying, keep loving, keep trusting, and keep hoping. Thank you for sharing this time with me today. If this episode encouraged you, would you pass it along to another woman who might need this reminder? Until next time, friend, lead well, live whole, and keep trusting the God who writes the most beautiful endings, even when the middle feels really messy. I pray this episode blessed you, spoke to you, or encouraged you in some way. If so, please share it with a friend and head on over to Apple Podcasts to leave me a review. That's the only way for me to know if you're enjoying the show. Nothing blesses me more than to hear from you. Also, come on over to our free Facebook community. This is a great place for us to support one another on our faith and leadership journeys. You can find the link to the group in the show notes or go to gracefilledleader.com/community. If you have questions or content ideas for the show, please send me a message on SpeakPipe or via email. Go to gracefilledleader.com/contact and leave a written or voice recorded message. I would love to know how I can best serve you on the podcast. Now to Him who can do immeasurably more than we can ask or imagine, according to His power that is at work within us. Ephesians 3, verse 20. Until next time, my friends, God bless.